All right, y'all. So I want to hop into this article, rather this video from Yahoo Finance titled 10% of Americans say they're wealthy. 3 ways they build wealth. Now, I want to put the majority of the emphasis of this video of me talking to y'all on the first point, the 10% of Americans saying they're wealthy. Now, this is 10% of Americans that say they're wealthy, that feel as though they are wealthy. This is not based on any kind of quantifiable definition or measurable definition of what wealth is. This is 10% of people. Now, out of the group of people that was that Fidelity used to conduct this study, it was a group of 2,000 people total, right? This is 2,000 people who use Fidelity, right? Fidelity is an investment platform. If y'all don't know what that is, kind of like, Robinhood, your M1 Finance, Charles Schwab, it's in that realm, right? So this is 2,000 people, and this is a study conducted by an investment platform, right? These are people who at least have their finances together enough to know that they need to be at least looking into an investment platform, right? So I say that to say this is not necessarily an accurate representation of the average American. If you do a poll of, let's say, 10,000 people that is not necessarily led by an investment platform like a Fidelity, I believe this number will get significantly lower. Now, what I want to do before I click play on the video, I want to take you guys through some statistics that I received earlier this year when I completed the Dave Ramsey Financial Coaching Program. If you guys don't know, I'm a financial coach. I offer financial coaching services because I'm pretty young, you know what I'm saying? I have my finances together. I've hit some significant milestones in my life, and I've mentored my peers to some kind of early success. But these are the statistics that I want to take you guys through. Now, first and foremost, the statistic that you guys should keep on your brain that the average American, the everyday Joe should know, is that 70% of Americans, it's actually a little bit more than 70%, but we round down to 70% to keep it a round number. 70% of Americans do not have $1,000 in their bank account in cash in their bank account in case of an emergency. They don't even have a $1,000 emergency fund, right? So when we start to compare numbers, right, and we put this 10% of Americans say they're wealthy versus 70% don't even have $1,000 in their bank account, you mean to tell me that 70% and that 10%, there's such a steep, drastic difference in finances there? I don't think so. But let's walk through this PDF real quick. So it says, for many Americans, the financial future is uncertain. Although the U.S. is wealthy compared to other countries, the amount of debt the average American carries is shocking. Now, the average household income, meaning two or more people, however many people within the household are working, is roughly $59,000, right? That's the average combined household income. Average consumer debt is about $180,000 in mortgages, round up to $51,000 in student loans, $29,000 in auto loans in vehicles, and $16,000 in credit cards. Again, I'm rounding these numbers, but $16,000 in credit card debt, right? These are at the numbers from the average American. Total consumer debt in the United States of America right now is $12.73 trillion. Absolutely insane. 78% of people live paycheck to paycheck. The average credit card interest, APR, is 16.4%. 7 out of 10, 70% of couples do not budget consistently, and approximately 66% of Americans would struggle to pay for a $1,000 emergency. That's not the statistic that I gave you guys earlier, which is 70% do not have $1,000. This is 66% would struggle. So this is people who have maybe a little bit more than $1,000 factored into this as well. They would struggle to pay for a $1,000 emergency. It's different numbers, but let's go ahead and hop back into this Yahoo Finance video. I'm gonna go ahead and full screen this video, and let's hear what these guys have to say about the study.
What does it take to be wealthy? It's the big question. Nearly 2,000 Americans, they're weighing in. And for Fidelity's first ever State of Wealth Mobility study. Here with the results, we've got David Peterson, Fidelity Head of Advanced Wealth Solutions. David, let's just start there. How many Americans actually consider themselves wealthy?
Hey, Brad, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me. It's interesting. You know, the survey found that only 10% of Americans consider themselves wealthy today.
Again, this is 10% of Americans that consider themselves wealthy. This is based off of a feeling. This is not based off of necessarily factual or measurable evidence and numbers. This is based off of a personal feeling.
And while it's probably not surprising that such a small number consider themselves wealthy, what may be surprising is that the number is consistent across income and asset levels. In other words, what the survey found is that having a great deal of wealth doesn't necessarily determine whether someone actually feels wealthy.
So what is that rubric? What are the parameters that Americans set to identify wealth?
Yeah, it's a great question. Our study found that for most Americans, the definition of what it means to be wealthy is relatively modest. For many, a major criterion for feeling wealthy is simply not living paycheck to paycheck.
So basically, the average American, out of the people that they conducted this study with, consider wealthy to just be not in survival mode. That is absolutely insane. They're saying the average American, and again, this is a small control group, it's only 2,000 people, but for the sake of conversation, I'm saying the average American considers wealthy just not living paycheck to paycheck, just barely having your head above water, not thriving in any way. I'll give you guys my personal definition of wealthy. My personal definition of wealthy is when you reach your never work again number and you set your future generations up to be able to possibly inherit or to be able to learn from what you've done to create and preserve that wealth. That's what wealthy is. For me, my never work again number is $5 million. That's what wealthy is, in my opinion. Wealthy absolutely is not just not paycheck to paycheck. It's insane. Absolutely insane.
High net worth individuals, now these are individuals that have $1 million or more in savings and investments, not including retirement accounts or real estate. They're expectedly more likely to associate feeling wealthy with also being able to travel.
Feeling wealthy, and this is the issue. This is the issue. The overwhelming majority of people don't realize that dollars do not have emotions or are not associated with your personal emotions. We're sitting here talking about people feeling wealthy because they have the ability to travel. This is why the national consumer debt is as high as it is, because we're basing our financial status based off of superficial things like the ability to be able to travel. The majority of people that are doing this traveling are not even doing traveling for the sake of, making money or advancing their career or doing anything productive. They just want to be able to go on vacation. They just want to be able to lay around for a week or two, blowing money on superficial things rather than setting a goal, setting a real, tangible, realistic goal for themselves and working adamantly towards the goal. This is the issue. And this is why whenever I'm coaching people, the main thing we talk about on my first coaching call with everybody, the biggest thing we talk about is your mindset towards money. Your mindset and your behaviors towards your money in the overwhelming majority of cases is way more important than what your income even is. Your behaviors and the habits you build around your money, the discipline that you build with your money is the things that's going to take you to wealth, are the things that are going to make you wealthy, not the ability to be able to travel, just not living paycheck to paycheck. This really puts into perspective something that I was told by my uncle when I graduated from high school, which is that you'll beat people in life just by trying, just by putting in the effort. And I echo that same sentiment to y'all. Just by making a decision that I'm not gonna be out here tricking off my money. I'm gonna making a decision to make the best possible decisions for yourself, regardless of your emotions, regardless of how you feel in the moment, will set you apart and just that alone will put you significantly further ahead than the average American.
And take vacations, as well as give back to charities. However, an equal share of high net worth and non-high net worth individuals attribute feeling wealthy to home ownership.
So for the roughly 10% who identify as wealthy, how did you find that they built that wealth?
Yeah, for the 10th who consider themselves wealthy, basically there are three things that boil down to how they achieve that in their minds. One is investing strategically. The other is saving from a young age. You can't beat the power of compounding, after all. And finally, it's consistently allocating part of their paycheck to savings.
Now, there's some validity to these three things. However, as people who have a goal to set ourselves apart, who have set a goal in our lives, I'm talking about me and you, this is basic information. This is the absolute bare minimum. Investing strategically, saving from a young age, consistently allocating part of their paycheck to their savings. Essentially, all three of these things boil down to being intentional with where you place your money. Being intentional with where you place your money is the bare minimum, the gateway, the starting line. This is getting yourself to the starting line of building some kind of wealth. But again, the issue is that we're having a conversation about how people feel, whether or not people feel if they're wealthy, rather than people setting a number for themselves and chasing that number. It's crazy.
Really systematic about it. Now, going back to that first one, investing strategically, we know that this can be intimidating for most. Our survey also found that
Investing
the majority,
strategically,
78%
is
of
intimidating.
Americans wish they were better investors than they are today. However, in our view, it doesn't have to be intimidating because you can always outsource it. At Fidelity,
there's absolutely nothing about investing that should be intimidating. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, don't try to be a day trader or any of these guys that, start flipping penny stocks. Guys, don't try to be that. All you have to do is put your money into the S&P 500 or any other mutual fund or ETF in the stock market. That's it. Keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. Keep your finances at all times as simple as possible so that it doesn't start to confuse you. There's absolutely nothing intimidating about you have your 3 to 6 months of expenses in your bank account, and the rest of the money that you get, or that you save rather, put that into an ETF, a mutual fund, or just throw it into the S&P 500. Easy.
Fidelity, for example, we're constantly focused on innovating financial solutions to help people plan for the future they want. That's why this year we've expanded access to our personalized wealth management offering enabled by the Unified Managed Household, or UMH platform. This platform provides a goal-based planning and investment management approach across a household in a really tax-smart way. Now, UMH is highly regarded in the wealth management industry. However, historically, it's been exclusive to only certain wealthy individuals, typically those with over 10 million available for investment. today at Fidelity, advisory clients with a minimum investment of $50,000 have access.
Certainly. Just as we're hustling to the finish here, one of the other things that we're going to be tracking, and we've seen a range of somewhere between $84 trillion, I think that was put out there by Cerulli Associates, and even upwards of $90 trillion, going to be wrapped up in this great wealth transfer and expected to change hands over the next few decades. That might involve some tough money conversations. What did the report have to say about people's preparedness to pass down?
A lot of people talk about this wealth transfer, this great wealth transfer. I mean, there's a wealth transfer from every generation to every generation. So I would be interested in, probably digging a little bit deeper into that. But I'll go ahead and cut the video here. There's not too much more valuable information in this. Overall, the message that I want to convey to y'all, don't do yourself the disservice of falling into what the average American does, which is lead their finances based on their emotions. Your finances should be based on a measurable, quantifiable end goal and result. If you enjoyed today's topic and you need help organizing your finances, I want to invite you to work with me one-on-one by clicking the coaching link in the description of this video. Keep watching and I'll tell you why this coaching will be such a big benefit to you at an affordable price. If you're like me, nobody ever really talked to you about money growing up. My curiosity led me to start studying personal finance at 16 years old. And by 23 years old, I had finished college while minimizing my student loan and consumer debt, had hit my first $10,000 month as an entrepreneur, had won an international business pitch competition, had completed the Ramsey Solutions financial coaching program, and had already mentored many of my peers to financial success at a young age. You'll walk away from our session with a fresh and healthy view of your finances, as well as an action plan for financial success within the next 2 to 5 years of your life. So go ahead and click the coaching link in the description of the video, and I can't wait to speak to you on our first session.